Hey everybody, my name is Lee Song and today I'm going to share with you guys my food tutorial on how I painted this cat eye painting. Welcome to part 2 of my mini canvas painting from my Twitch live stream. Today is a cat's eye. So this piece was inspired by my favorite artist. She was the one who started it all for me. She sparked that flame in my heart that made me love art so much and experimented in so many different mediums. She is Lacree Fine Art. Please go check her out. She is a wonderful person. She dives into so many mediums, and one of which is actually a mixed medium of acrylic and oils. It's interesting how acrylics can dry really fast, but it's a little tricky to blend it, whereas oils blends perfectly but takes forever to dry. So why not combine the both and make the best out of both worlds? But it's very important to note that it has to be an acrylic underpainting followed by oils on top. It cannot be the other way. If you put oils at the bottom and the acrylics on top, acrylic can't stick to oils, so it will flake off. So that's why you have to remember acrylic bottom, oil on top. For this piece, I used Golden Artist colors for the acrylics and Holbein water-soluble oils for, the oil paints. And my mini canvas, I got it from ArtFriend. And without further ado, let's go on with the tutorial. I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and if you did, I would appreciate that like and subscribe as it helped the channel a lot. And please share it to your friends who you might think might find it helpful. I share videos, tutorials, and reference photos for artists to use for free, so if you do like to support me to help make all this sustainable, you can do so by pledging over at Patreon. You can also join my Discord server where I'm trying to create a wholesome community there, and you can also get notified when I go live on Twitch. It's an amazing place where you can see me do my artwork in real time, and if you have any questions about my process, you can go over there, or if you're just looking to chit chat and art jam, it's like a wonderful place to hang out in. All the links are down below in the video description. And without further ado, let's go on with the tutorial. Right, so I'm sketching out the eye now. And I'm doing it from an angle here, so it's looking a little funky. So the eyes are here. It's more like going this way, so okay, so we have a little bit of that going on. Then we have the fur. This will also be a good tutorial for how to draw animal eyes. It's a little different though, because I'll be using oils, which is not my strong suit, so perhaps not. Okay, so it's really simple. It's something like this. Now my question is, I guess we should go with acrylics. We go with acrylics, then we go with black and white. Okay, so for acrylics, I use Golden Artist colors. So I have black and I have white here. These are like the extra large of tubes. Okay, I better put this in another section of the palette so I don't get mixed up. Okay, so for fur, I usually mention this in my other previous tutorials or videos that I always start from dark to light. So what I mean is literally dark to light. I start with black, and then I will add white to that. I'm gonna paint the entire thing black, actually. That's what I really meant by dark. Okay, and then go with white. And everything in between. Well, I'll add a little bit more black to it because it is going to be the whole canvas that I'm coloring. So I'm gonna keep both the paint bottles, the paint tubes in my drawer, and I'll continue painting. So I'm gonna start. So remember, this is using acrylic. We're using acrylic for the underpainting. I'm just painting wherever it is I want right now. I mean, I'm just making sure I know my cues, which is the eye over here and the, well, I was gonna say the eye makeup around it. You know how cats, they have like, or animals really, they have like the fur around their eyes just looks like, I don't know, eye makeup. Just accentuates their eyes so nicely. So acrylic is a good way because acrylic dries very fast as compared to oils. But if you're going to use mixed medium, you have to do it in order, because oils is very slippery, so you cannot paint acrylics on top of oils. You have to put acrylic as the base, then oils at the top. I don't know, I feel kind of scared. Never mind, let's just paint the whole thing black. So I'm coloring everywhere but the eye. It looks kind of creepy right now. It looks like the eye of Sauron or something. I'll just paint the sides while we're at it. So I'm going to do the eyes. I am going to do it in a way that I'm gonna blend it with the painting. blend it together, black and white, you get gray. But I'm not gonna do it like super. I'm not gonna pay so much heart into it, cause we're gonna blend it. Like if I feel like it's not good enough, I can just go back and do, well, not say go back, but like I can blend it better if I'm using the oils. So usually for eyes, usually the top portion of the eyes are darker, and there is like a nice blend, a nice light at the bottom of it, because the eyelids act as a curtain for the eyes, and it will provide shade on the top half. So that's why most of the time the top half is always darker than the bottom. So right now I am doing black and white for the acrylics. So you can see the blending for acrylics is not that smooth compared to the oils. But I do admit that using Artist Golden Colors, I do feel like the blending is a little bit easier compared to student grade quality. But it does take a while. You need to like spend quite a while to actually get the blend that you're satisfied with. So those are the challenges. And if you don't get the blend you want, you just gotta layer it. You gotta wait for it to dry and then start all over. Which is why for acrylics, I do love using it for fur, because you can always build those fur layers. So right now it kind of looks like nothing. And it's all planned. It's all intentional, guys. Okay. So now I'm doing the lighter under part of the eye. I'm gonna use my brush that I cleaned to kind of spread the paint out to blend it. I think I use a very fine point brush, and I'll take a little bit of a grayish white. Just paint the upper eyelids. So there's like a fine black line in between the eyelid and the cornea itself. Okay. Adding another line for the upper eyelid. Okay, the eyelid's somewhat dried again, so we're just kind of like, I'm not a particularly patient person, so I just keep going back and forth. So you can see my method of using the oils is a little different from the acrylics. Like the acrylics, I kind of do it in layers. I wait for the paint to dry, then I do another layer, then I wait for the paint to dry again, then I do another layer. Where else, like the oils, because it's so smooth and the drying time is so short, so long, that I can just do all the blending all in one go. This one, acrylics, is a different kind of property, and you have to respect each different property it has to offer. This one I'm gonna go with a really fine brush as well. I'm just gonna make my mark and where I think the eyelids are. The thing is around here. So I'll make tiny little furs all around the eye. I'll do the same for the bottom as well. going to use the black and I'm going to paint the pupil. Because we're looking at it at an angle, so the pupil is also not straight, it's kind of like slanted. And I'm gonna take the really fine brush. I'm gonna take like the whitest white. I'm just kind of doing like the pattern of the iris. Okay, I'll take a little bit of gray as well to give it more contrast, because you can't see all the whites. Starting to look a little like the Eye of Sauron here. Gonna add like a little bit of polka dot near the pupil as well. Make it black. Especially when you do like close-up of the eye, it's really good to pay attention to the pattern of the iris, the reflection. It really helps bring the whole thing to life. Especially when eyes really capture the attention of the viewer. Viewers love eyes. It's one of the most basic things we use to communicate, hence why we're so captivated by it. Okay, I'm gonna use the glove to just press it against it, create some texture. So I'm also using the kind of like the same method, even though the canvas is not as textured as before, but I'm also using like the dry brush and letting that just brush against the canvas tooth, and whatever texture the canvas have. Hopefully it'll catch some of that paint and translate it onto the painting. Okay, we are going to do with the next one. So next one we're going to touch up on the fur. Now the fur, we're gonna do it in layers, like I said before. So I took some black and mixed it in with white. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start painting. I'm using this filbert rake brush. This is my go-to brush when I paint fur. But the consistency have to be just right. So you can see this how I usually do fur. It's like my quick two. All you gotta do is just stroke the brush and it already looks so real. It does look very dark, but that's because I want to create this mid-tone and highlights with the exact same texture. So we're just working our way to the top here. I'm gonna carry on with the bottom. The bottom, I am going to actually kind of mix my gray a little too light. Add in a little bit of black there. So you can see like the texture of the fur, even though I won't show it much of it later when I add in the highlights. It's just gonna be like maybe a one layer thing depending on how dark I want it. But then looking at this cat, it's a very, very dark cat, and the highlights are the light fur that accentuates the eyes and the eyes itself. So that's it. Gonna do that for the top as well. And then we're slowly going to mix the white into the gray. And we slowly move towards that lighter strokes. So kind of need a little bit more water because I need to get that consistency right. Need a little bit more water. So there's some short fur at the back there, but the cat's eyebrows are very, very long. So you can see already it's starting to look like fur. Just like that. But of course, if this is your first time using the brush, it can be a little tricky. It needs lots of practice, especially the consistency of water to paint ratio. If it's too wet, yeah, it's gonna go everywhere. The water, more so than the paint. If it's too thick, then paint is not gonna run at all. It's just going to be stuck to the brush. So paying attention to the reference photo, I am just going to do a little bit on the shorts of the fur, but kind of few and far between. Don't want too much. Don't want it to be as thick as compared to around the eyes there. So I'm just gonna do kind of sparingly or sparse out. Okay, so that's kind of like the. So we're doing it in layers. So now we're doing the next round. Is what I'm trying to say. I'm like trying to count. How many layers did we do again? I think we did like 2, 3. So this can be, depending on how bright I want it, it can be the highlight already. Now see, if it's too dry, the paint is not coming off. So I need to add a little bit of water because the paint is too thick. It's not running at all. Sorry, excuse me. So sometimes if it's too thick also, it's like a thick blob will come out and not like a nice thin furry line that you want to happen. I don't think this is the highlight. We still need to do a few more rounds. So if I do a big piece, you can tell this is like already like the fourth layer. And imagine if I do a really big piece, I have to do it like 6 times sometimes. And imagine if it's 6 times of a really big piece, I have to do it again and again and again. So you can imagine why sometimes I'm not particularly excited to do big pieces, especially when it comes to realism. It's very repetitive, which can sometimes it might be your thing. For me, it's like it is my thing to a certain extent. I have my limits. So I'm not really doing the fur around it anymore. Maybe a little just around here, but not much. Looking at the reference photo, there's like some lighter colors around the eye, something like that. Then we're gonna add all the whites. Gonna add a whole bunch of whites in there. In fact, you know what? I'm just gonna take the white itself. Looks a little thick again. I'm just gonna add that in. So from a single color to a blob in the middle of the painting to something that kind of resembles a cat's eye. We're not done yet, of course, but it's nice to see the progress in such a short amount of time. It's actually quite liberating. Quite a relief. I think I wanted to end the stream early, but if I can finish this in one sitting, that would be great. So I think we can call that the highlights. I think we can call that, I wouldn't say done, but like in parts of the acrylic, I mean, I guess we could call that done. We can do a little bit more of the highlights. So for the highlights, I'm gonna take pure white here and just bring it on top like that. And you know, sometimes I don't want it to be like a pure block of paint. So at the edge here, I would clean my brush and then I would feather it out so it would look like this. So it's like a soft edge kind of thing. And actually I don't think it's white enough. I'm going to use it straight from the tube. Sometimes I get lazy. I just use it straight from the tube. So it kind of looks like that. Okay. I'll do a little bit more. Take this and spread it out here. Okay, so I like a little bright green for the eyes. You know, cats and their bright green eyes. Like, reminds me of Salem from Sabrina the Teenage Witch. The old one. I never watched the new one, and the Netflix one. I will put in some yellow ochre too. This one's for the fur mostly. I am going to... So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a glaze on it. I'm not exactly sure how this will affect the painting, but I mean, let's try, shall we? So I'm using a glaze, which is basically diluting my paints, and I'm just going to glaze it on top and see what happens. I'm going to take a second brush here. And I'm going to feather it out. Guess it's not exactly coming out the way I want. So this is just an experiment. I don't exactly know how it'll come out. In fact, I don't even know if it's wise to do it right now. Because even though acrylics dry within minutes, it doesn't fully dry until a few days later. In the sense that if you use water on it, it can actually kind of spray it out a little. Spread the paint out and it won't be as sharp. So the thing about glaze is that when you do it on top, it kind of brings down the opacity of the painting sometimes. So you need to reinforce that. So it's not just one and done. You probably have to do a little bit more touch-ups. Okay, so it looks something like that. I'll still have to touch up on it, of course. But I don't know. I don't really know what to expect, guys. I haven't watched enough YouTube videos to soak in what I wanted to do, so it's kind of underwhelming right now. I don't think, oh man, I don't think we can finish this in time. Okay, so I'm gonna take my little fine brush here. It's a bit too wet. Shoot. Okay, take a little brush and feather it out. Okay. And then we're just going to go over. It's definitely a darker green towards the corners. So the thing about acrylics is that they don't look very vibrant until you put a coat of varnish on it. Whereas like if you put like oils, it looks pretty good instantly. So I do love the blend, and if you saw how long it took for me to blend the black and white in the first part, you can see the difference instantly with the oils. So it definitely lost some part of its opacity in terms of the details because the paint is basically covering on top of it, and it's to be expected. We have to just do it again. Okay, then we also have some Viridian Hue. I think that would be quite wonderful to put at the corners there. Again, feeling a little too lazy, I'm just going to use it straight from the tube. I don't know if other artists do this, but I can be lazy. Not gonna lie to you guys. So the blending is so good, so smooth. Don't even have to think too much about it. The top though is losing its darkness, so I have to go with the black. I don't know if I still have black here. Okay, then alright. I have to see. Oh, that looks a little too dark, but okay, no, it's alright, it's alright. We just spread it out. Okay, it's still looking a little too dark here. Gonna spread it out even more. Okay. I think I'll use some burnt umber. Don't know. I guess. I'm like wondering whether it's the brightness enough. It's quite hard to tell. You have to really trust your eyes on this one. If it was like a digital painting, you can kind of tell because of the histogram. Artists, well, photographers, that's why there's histograms in cameras, because you have photographers use it to tell whether it's underexposed or overexposed. And you can find that in Photoshop as well. Okay, got a little bit of white, just to bring the brightness up a bit, because it was looking, the colors are kind of like darkening the highlighted areas already, so needs a little bit more water. The paint is definitely too thick. Okay. I don't know, I can't really tell. I guess that's looking good, right, guys? Yeah, I guess that's looking pretty alright. I'm gonna use some more white and just chuck it at the highlight here. So I clean my brush and then I'm spreading the paint around. So that's how you get that nice soft edge. I really like using that. Okay. Next one. We're gonna use burnt umber. This is mostly for the sides. At the edge here. Want to have that nice vibrant color at the edge. Okay. So I'm using different brushes. I'm feathering it out. So if I feel like this brush doesn't do a good job, I'm actually using another brush, because this brush already contains a lot of paint on the bristles. Yeah, something like that. And then here. A little bit like that as well. We'll probably have to go over it again with the fur brush. I'm trying to avoid that. I'm a little bit worried because I don't want to use that for oils. I don't want the oils to get it all a little muddy. That's what I'm a little bit afraid of here. Okay, so we used the burnt umber, and I think it has like a nice burnt edge. Then we'll use raw sienna. And this one will be at the top here. So I use the same method. Take another brush, feather it out. And it's quite light. I think it's coming out quite nice because then it's like you can see how the colors of it grow from the deep indents of the hair to the very bright surface of it. I think that is pretty good. I am quite liking the raw sienna. I always like raw sienna, so I'm just gonna glaze everywhere else. I'm not gonna do too much of the, like, I don't really bother the little fur on the outside because first of all, it's not the main subject. Second of all, it's, yeah, not the main subject. Full stop. I guess it looks, wait, I need to look from afar. I don't know. Can't really tell. I think, okay, I think we'll call it done, but I definitely need to do one last one. I don't know if this will work. I'm trying to use the filbert brush and get that white. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. It's not too bad. Okay, I'm getting a little bit more white. I don't want it to get all muddy. Oh yeah, the white really brings it more to life. It really builds up that contrast. Really makes it pop even more. Okay, I feel much more comfortable with this. Can add a little bit more of the lighter fur around. Okay, I guess I'll call it done. Just one more. I just make the highlights as white as possible, and then I'm calling it done for sure, guys. For realsies. Put that white on top. Okay. Yeah. We are done, guys. That's it. Thank you everybody for watching this tutorial. I really hope it has helped you in your art journey, and if it did, I would really appreciate your help to like and subscribe to this video, and also share it to your friends. It would help so much with the search engine and the algorithm. I have no idea how, YouTube. I've been doing this for 6 years, and it's not, and haven't, I have no clue how this works. So I really appreciate you guys for staying up to this point. I don't know how you do it, but yeah, thank you everybody. Stay safe wherever you are. Bye.